And hi everyone, welcome to Tech Down Over. I'm Rick Zanotti and I'm joined today by my good friend and co-host from the land down under, Geoff Blanchard. Hey Geoff, how are you?
Good, thank you, Rick. After a little bit of technical difficulties, me getting on, we're here at last.
We're here
let's
at last.
Get going with the show.
Skype and remix notwithstanding. So anyway, we've got a great guest on today and let's get going. Well, today we've got with us Mack Dermott, who is a voiceover talent. He's an audio designer. He's a database analyst. He's an actor. He's done a lot of different things, and we're honored to have him on today. How you doing today, Mack?
I'm doing wonderful, Rick. It's a beautiful day in Houston, Texas, and I'm enjoying talking to you about the increasing and the technologies that are involved with producing and voiceover work.
Yeah, voiceover is fun. It's a lot of fun. And you said you got that nice deep voice. And now, are you originally from Seattle? You said you worked there, or is that just one of the places you went to work?
I'm from the United States of America. I was born in North Carolina, raised in Pennsylvania, moved out to Colorado, went to Alaska, down to Seattle, and now back to Texas. Oh, actually, I went in Colorado in between there, too.
That sounds
so
good.
I was,
were you military?
Just kind of made, I was not. My father was. But,
your father was.
He retired when I was 6 years old, but all those were my adult versions of myself.
Yeah, you got to see the whole country, which is great.
It's a beautiful country. You got to go see it.
It is. I know. I've been to a lot of places, but not all places. I've never been to Alaska, for example, and I hear it is gorgeous. Yeah.
They say once you go to Alaska, you never really do ever come back fully.
Really? It is that nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been reading a series of books by a guy named Mark Cameron, they're really fun books. They're kind of like anti-terror books and everything, but he lives in Alaska now. He's somewhere up around Anchorage, and he was showing where he works and writes his books. Oh man, it's gorgeous up there. It just looked like a really nice place to be. Now, pre-show we were talking a little bit about what you've done, what I've done. Now, you were involved in computers at first. You were a database guy. You did all sorts of work in that. In the healthcare industry,
20 years in printing, and then
in printing,
that sort of printing, yes, publishing, printing, and that sort of kind of died out, as you know, to desktop publishing. And then I went into I did 5 years in radio, where I learned a little bit about computers, starting with an old 386 or 8088, then moving on to database management and becoming a PPO coordinator for a large a third-party administrator that basically had a national database that had a large database of doctors, hospitals, providers, things like that. And that was for 8 years. And in 2009, I joined up with a company that was involved in radio advertising. So I took all of my life skills as I went along and just kind of became this computer person, and this ability to take the data, analyze it, and then tell a story, tell people what is in here.
Yep. We're all shadowing you, Geoff. Geoff is the same way. Geoff got into audio and recording, and he does voiceover. He's done audiobooks, and he does a lot of recordings at work and video. And same with me. I didn't start out this way. I was mostly a PC guy. I'm not PC guy, but a systems guy in fairly large computer installations. And it's funny how we all make it to this area of voiceover and media, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun. So what got you into voiceover? The radio work?
I think the biggest influence were two comedians, well, actually three comedians. When you look at them, you got George Carlin, and you had Cheech and Chong. Yep. And George Carlin was your hippy-dippy Riverman, and I used to try to imitate him and try to do some of the voices, and kids would get a laugh out of it. So as I got older and got involved into radio, I learned how to use my voice in an effective way. First thing was with accents. Like, I really don't have an accent in my normal voice. But if I wanted to talk like I'm from New York, it'd be easy just to change over to that. Forget about it. It's not a problem.
Yep.
Or you know, the other thing that you do with voiceover work is a lot of anime, and you have productions, and so you've got to come up with a German voice to be the attacker or something like that, or well, you could be something like this and be like Barney the dinosaur that I call it. It's my Barney the dinosaur voice.
Yeah, and it's fun.
I think that's the key to your talent, though, Mac. Is like everybody can probably come up with a voice and do that, but it's keeping it and being able to go back to that one and just keep that voice, because a lot of people can put on a bit of an accent for 5 minutes or a couple of minutes, but then when they go back to it, it's totally different. But that's where I think your real skill is when you can do that accent but maintain, then go back and be exactly that same person. I just don't know how they do it. And with my level of voiceover, I'm just me. And how I fell into it was just the need that there was nobody else to do that. We needed a voiceover, and there was no way of doing it. So, well, it's either you or there's nothing. And so I thought, well, it didn't turn out too bad. So I kept doing it.
And then Geoff discovered the love of microphones and preamps and all the stuff that costs a lot of money. So
there's a lovely lady. Oh, go ahead. There's a lovely lady who lives right on the other side of you in Newcastle, in New South Wales, that has me on sort of a retainer to do what they call the American accent.
Oh, okay. Well, that's always good to have an American doing an American accent, because we've got one here doing on a radio advert for the Volvo cars doing a Swedish accent. And the voiceover person is not, I know I picked it up, but most people probably, but they're not Swedish, you can tell, but there's just a few words where it sneaks in the Australian and I can hear it. Most people don't, but you can hear, they do a very good job in most of it, but then you go, and then you put the real Australian slang, gets into a couple of words, and it makes me cringe every time. But I think it's only people like us who probably will notice, because we're there. We know what people are sat in a studio pretending to be something else doing that. But no, if anybody wants a purely Australian English type voice, by all means use me, because there's nobody who sounds like me. I'm quite strange sounding, I think.
I've got a friend of mine with an English accent, and when she hears me, she says, "You don't sound English at all," you know. And then the Irish accent comes out, and I can be really Irish, and not that I have the problem with being an Irish accent, but the Irishman tells me, "You don't sound Irish at all, there, buddy."
That's funny. Can you do now? The key is, can you do a Scottish accent?
Well, we fight the Scottish. I guess I would fight the accent that way.
But you taggart, you cannot talk to your dog. It's a very hard accent to do, but it's as I said, I can do little bits, but as I said, it's keeping it up for that and going back to that and being consistent and not dropping back into your other accent. Now, Mac, when you started, how long have you, since 2009, was that when you started sort of doing the voiceover part of the business?
Right. I started doing a voiceover for AT&T, which was of course, that's like the largest telecom company here in the United States. I did actually a voiceover in my own voice, as opposed to one of those specialty voices that I have. And that's what they wanted. They wanted somebody natural. They wanted the ability of having them to convey to an audience like you're talking to somebody next door.
Yeah, and I did listen to that, and all I could think of when I was listening to that was Kenny Rogers. It just sounded like Kenny Rogers.
You know, now that you say that, you have a tad of that kind of Kenny Rogers. You have a very nice voice, but it's natural. Like you said, you're not forcing it. It's just a natural, good voice. You know, a lot of people say, I want to be a voiceover talent. Okay. People say I have a great voice. Okay. And then you go, so what do you do? I just have a great voice. Do you practice? Do you read? Or what do you got to have more than that. I mean, great voices are great, but what do you do with it? I don't know. I just thought I might want to get into VO because I have a great voice. And you go, well, that's not going to get you into it if you just have a great voice and don't know how to use it. Oh, I have to use it.
Exercises. You have to use your exercises. You have to learn. I mean, even coming to this show, I did my normal 5-minute routine of making sure my T's and my S's and my R's and everything else are clear.
Yeah, no, you have a nice voice. I like your voice because it's professional, yet it's natural. So it's that kind of mix of, I could see where you could do radio and advertising and everything. But on the other hand, you have a natural... Now, the tendency right now is to have like these dopey, regular guy voices that really sound like crap. And you go, why do you want to sell with that? Get at least a trained natural voice. Like, you have a nice trained natural voice. And to me, that's a good voice. That's a great voice. And I hear so many, maybe it's because we're in LA and we just, I don't know. There may not be a lot of neurons left in California, but the ads sound so bad sometimes. And the voices just sound like, how the heck did you guys get into voiceover? It's just sort of interesting. As I've gotten more into it, I just keep listening to voices that just don't sound like they have what it takes to do a good ad or to sound like they're professional. But I guess they don't want that. In some cases, they want that kind of dopey, young, I don't know, like, hey, dude. It's like, oh, no, that doesn't sound good. But anyway, I digress. But then
the other kind of voices that they come out with in commercials is what I call deals with shout value.
Oh, yeah.
And to give you the best example of that is the guys who do Sunday, more race cars. Sunday, yes, be there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think they do that to just get into people's attention for a moment because it's like, hello, wake up. I love those.
It's shout value. It's what I call shout value. It permeates your brain to the point that it annoys you, and then you remember it.
There was one time I was watching late night TV in Los Angeles, right? And it's about maybe 1 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. I'm just kind of bored watching some stupid martial arts movie or something. And all of a sudden a commercial comes on. He goes, hello, I'm Bob Walker from the Attention Deficit Disorder, whatever it was, center. He goes, if you suffer from ADHD, it's something that can really affect your life. Hey, I'm talking to you. It's like... And it wasn't a joke. It was actually really screaming at you. And he goes, yeah, that's what I had to do to get your attention. Call 1-800-428-da-da-da-da. 1-800-428 at the ADHD Center. We'll take care of you. And I literally busted out loud. Woke me up, too. But it was like, wow. Now, that was a commercial. And at first I go, it's Saturday Night Live joke time. No, it was real.
Well, I used to practice the... Go ahead, Geoff. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you continue with that. I'll ask later.
No, it's just like one of the things that I had learned when I was young. One of my big fans of Cheech and Chong was their fake commercials, and they would come out with something very, very calm and say, "This portion of the program is brought to you by the Evelyn Woodhead Speed Reading Contest." And then you'd have somebody come out and say, ever since I took the Evelyn Woodhead Speed Reading Contest, my reading has improved wonderfully. And comprehension has increased. I recommend it, and you heard it right here on the roller derby.
Yep. So true. Geoff?
Well, I was going to ask you, Mac, as I said, you've been doing, say, since 2009, and even though it's only 10 years, it's like ancient. With about as far as technology goes, with your first project, how did you record that in your voiceover?
Well, it actually was. We still use Adobe Audition. Different versions of it, mind you. I think we're up to a version 9, which is much more better than version 1.3, which I think is what I had in 2009. But at least I understood about waveforms and what you could do with them, and how you could process them, how you could master out of them, how many overlays you could put on them. You couldn't do that much with the old version of Adobe Audition. But the newer ones, the newer versions is wonderful. Of course, I think that some of the public radio people use some freeware that is available that you can record your waveforms, MP3 format, and also the bit rate. It's gotten so much bigger now.
Right. Yeah. I think Audacity is one of the popular ones that's free. Audacity, that's one of the real popular ones. It's okay. It's not bad. Audition has really come a long way. We use it too. I think, Geoff, are you using Audition?
Yeah, I use it quite a lot because not just with the voiceovers as well, but also as well for e-learning modules. I can divide voiceover up into 500 different slides or 50 slides and it'll just create 50 files rather than having one big audio file that I have to match up a lot. So it makes it a lot easier. So it's one of the few, I think, programs that actually does that, I think. So.
And it's also very integratable with what's some of the video programs that see, I have a friend of mine who's a video producer, and he uses Adobe, I think it's called Adobe Light Show or something like that. I can't remember the name of the program right off the top of my head, but you can integrate that because you can slow it down, speed it up. You can match it for what they call ADR, which is automatic dialogue replacement. And you can record in different formats, which a matching format for their program.
And what I really love, I haven't done it, but I know you can do it with Audition. You can take a video in. So say if I take a video in of Rick reading a script or whatever, and then I can record the audio, the same one, and then I can put my voice against his video, and it'll match my lips, and it does, as long as you're saying the same words and trying the same script, and it does an amazing job. So you can, rather than having to manually dub it yourself, it does such a great job of that.
And you could actually go ahead and fine tune it if you wanted to make it a match perfectly. You can put that, you could find that little piece of waveform, expand it out, and do the little editing that you need, and it'll match right back up.
So back then, when you're doing your first recording, that a lot of people now, like myself, and that you do it at home. Do you do studio work, or is it more so in your home studio?
It's my home studio. In fact, I promote home studio work over the major studios because it's a lot less expensive, and especially for people who want to audition for a commercial or an advertisement. Yes, go ahead and by all means go into the studio. Go where there is a zero audio gain or anything else like that, and it's completely soundproof, and you can do a wonderful audition recording at 64,000 kilobits per second and do a wonderful job that way. Basically, all my submissions are at 44,100 and or 48,000, and it works for getting the point over to the casting director or the director who wants to hear something for that for their product.
Now, are you using dynamics or compressors more, condenser mics more?
I'm using a condenser mic. I'm using a Blue Yeti, which is actually good for podcasting because I can set it for for omnidirectional or unidirectional or any sort of ways that you want. So that's what I loved about the Blue Yeti.
Yep.
But I also have a standard Shure SM58 with
it's funny. People go, why would you get an SM58 today? It's only
who hasn't got one of them? I've got one too.
It's a great mic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good mic.
And it sounds like, you look at it, you go, really, this has that good a sound? It does. It absolutely does. We have a couple of those.
Digital converter. It's like called a UX1 converter.
Yeah.
It converts everything digital.
Yep.
You can adjust the gain properly, and it works fine.
Yep. Well, I have a story on that. I have a Shure. Is it the Shure X2U, the one you have, or you had a different one? I think.
No, mine's the X2U.
Yeah, I have an X2U, and that one got me stopped at an airport in LA. I went through my bag went through 4 times. I was like, oh God, give me my bag back. And finally, this girl comes up and goes, and she's got it in her hand. I went. She goes, what's this? And I said, well, that is a Shure X2U. That converts one cable to another, so I could put it into a computer. It's for microphones. And she just kept staring at me. I go, so I leaned in on her and I said, okay, it's a sex device. And she goes, oh, okay. Gives it back to me, and I go through. My wife goes, what did you tell her? I told her it was a sex device. She goes, you told her what? I said, did you want to wait any longer? We've been here 30 minutes already. and we got through. But it was so funny. I can't believe that worked. But you know,
I had the same trouble in Atlanta, Rick. I had the converter, the little XTU piece with my SM58, and I had to explain to them what it was for.
Yeah, they look at it like it's not right. What is it? And microphones, they'll look at that too. And what's this? It's a microphone. Oh, what? It's a microphone. You know, so I don't mind most of the TSA people are super nice, but every so often you just get one that just doesn't get it, and it's like, oh no. I had one actually stop me. It was a long line. It took 45 minutes to go through TSA. I had to go through the machine where you raise your arms, and then the guy who looked like Eugene from Police Academy, and I went, oh no, I got Eugene. This was in where was it, in Kentucky. And I go, not Eugene. And he goes, I need you to raise your arms again because make sure that you have no gun in your armpit. And I'm usually really nice with people, but I was really getting irritated with him. I said, you want me to raise my arm so you can't see the gun? I was under the X-ray, but okay. So I raised my arm and he goes, he's feeling like crazy. I go, I'm like, really? I was going to say, does that turn you on? I mean, come on. And he finally goes, okay. And my wife's looking at me going, were you going to say something to him? Oh, yeah. She goes, what happened? I go, I shut up. Because they can really make your life miserable if you say something. So I just said, no, I'm not going to go there. But I was like, really? I mean, come on. If it's not a microphone, it's a fake microphone. I don't have a gun under my armpit. Come on. You would be able to see that. And I would be walking very differently if I did. But yeah, it was sort of fun.
Is that a gun in your armpit? Are you a gun in your armpit, or are you? Just
no, this is a microphone.
But it's the sort of thing. It's the sort of thing that there's a lot of us using microphones and that, but a lot of people don't understand what microphones are. Like, I did go into a store in one of my visits to the US. I said, "Could you direct me to where the microphones are?" I was having a look, and the young lady said, what do you mean? What's a microphone?"
It's a small phone?
Oh, like you mean one of those headset for gaming. And that was all. That's all I got out of it was, and they didn't understand. No, just a separate standalone microphone, you know, where you speak into and record something. And this isn't an electronics store, but they didn't understand what I said, whether I just said the word microphone.
Now, Geoff, are you using a Countryman?
I'm not actually. I'm using just a quick. What's that one Rick put me on? That's the
OSP HSO9.
Yeah,
that's a different name now.
That's correct. I'm glad Rick remembered. But
yeah,
it was
OSP.
Nice,
I have that one too.
One.
Yeah, OSP H headset 09. It's like a Countryman, but it only costs $150, $60.
And something like that.
And sounds as good. I have a Countryman right here. And the Countryman, this one was about $600, six something. And they sound really good. But that OSP HSO9 is 4 times cheaper and sounds just about as good or better. So it's sort of interesting.
What is it with what is it with us sound people though? Like I've got this one on, and then I've got this one here. I've got then this one here. I've got all three going over at the same time. So I'm not short of a microphone if you want to do anything you want to do. So well, microphones everywhere. So it's just which one do you want to use? Yeah. As you probably get, Mac, we just like to have our gadgets anyway. Like I know one of my first mics was the Yeti, and like you said, it's a fantastic microphone. The only thing I didn't like about it was that darn good. If I had to keep perfectly quiet, or I could use sometimes it would pick up something down in the other part of the house that I could hear it through that. It's sensitive.
Good. It is sensitive.
They have to have the room controlled really, really well to use it.
Now, there is a Yeti Pro, which is a $200 microphone, and that one uses XLR and USB, so it has both. Oh. It's a little quieter. It's sensitive, but not as sensitive when you go into the XLR mode. The problem with the problem with the Yeti sometimes is depending on the computer that you connect to, the computer generates some noise on some of the internal sound cards too. So that's one of the issues. but it's not too bad, and that is one of the biggest selling mics out there. It's amazing how many Yetis are out there.
That's probably got more people into microphones than anything else, because it's such an affordable thing, but it looks the part as well, and people just like the feel of it. It's just such a nice microphone to use, and like you said, Mac, it's got the omnidirectional, so you can use it in a conference setting if you want to record more than one people. It's such a good all round mic, and as I said, not very expensive at all.
The Yeti Blue has several different settings, including the unidirectional for that, the omnidirectional, the one just for your talking yourself, one talking which is two people, and also it's got sort of this one microphone that it sounds almost like shotgun, because it takes out all the high range, all the low range, and leaves you with almost a tinny sort of version of your voice if you set it properly.
Yeah. Now, this is another Blue mic. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can see it now. This is the Blue Baby Bottle. And the Baby Bottle, it's about a $400 microphone. It's got a really nice sound to it. It's a condenser, and it has that cute little baby bottle look over here on the top. You can't change the capsules. They have the Blue Bottle, which is super expensive. That's like $5,000. But this thing's about $400. It has a nice sound to it, and it comes with its little shock mount. That's not too bad. It's big. You can put it upside down, or you can put it this way. But really nice mic. Blue makes some really nice microphones. I think I've got 3 of them. I've got this one and this Bluebird. I think it's a Bluebird. That was about a couple $100. Also a really nice mic. You don't have to spend a fortune to get good mics. That's the nice thing about microphones. At first I used to think, if I spend more, is it going to be better? Sometimes, but not often. It's funny. There are some really expensive mics. I have one that is Geoff has it too. It's the Studio Projects C1.
Yeah.
It's a $200 microphone, and you can fool any audio engineer into thinking it's a $3,500 Neumann U87. It sounds just like it for $200, $250. It's a great mic. It's interesting. So you go, should I buy a Neumann U87 for $3,500 or the Studio Projects for only $250? I went with the Studio Projects. It was good. You like it too, don't you, Geoff?
I do. I think it's a nice microphone, but I think it's getting to a bit the stage. Microphones, same a bit like cameras as well. I still believe it doesn't matter which microphone we have. It's the talent, like Mack's talent for voice is far better than mine. No matter what microphone I get, I wouldn't be able to do the voices and the sound that Mack gets out of it. But it's the talent. You've got to have that. Best microphone in the great studio might sound a little bit better, but your talent will overweigh will make up for a bit of microphone difference, as long as you've got that talent in the first place.
I always like those guys who would run with the exciters doing their broadcasting. Basically, you would run it through a condenser mic, and it would make their voice sound so rich, but you could actually, if you listen clearly, everything sounds like it was echoing back at you for a flash second right after they said everything.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I've got that on right here. I've got the Aphex Studio channel. I don't know if Geoff has it on right now, but the Studio channel has the big bottom and the oral exciter. And people always go, big bottom and oral exciter? That sounds kind of dirty. Nope. Oral, A-U-R-A-L. But it's an incredible, they're expensive. They're about $1,000. But boy, they give some of the best sound, because without that on, I really sound like this, and it's just not the same. So it does an incredible job of making the voice come out, and you don't need to excite it a lot or big bottom it a lot, because then it just gets muddy. But if you just use it a bit, it's amazing what it can do to the sound of a voice. And you in radio, most of those things are to just pop out the sound. If you're driving in a car, why does AM always have that harsh, kind of gritty sound? You couldn't hear it in the car otherwise. And so that stays in there. Now, with cars having beautiful car systems now, audio systems, you don't need something as in your face, but still that legacy kind of goes back on the dynamic mics and everything else to get those tube amplifiers and get in your face. And And it is sort of fun, but it's not for everything. So if you try doing voiceover for this, it's probably a little too boomy, too bassy. So we use other mics for those, and but it's fun. I mean, this whole industry is fun.
And I find with the Apex one. Sorry.
Go ahead, Geoff.
I was going to say, one of the things I like with the Aphex is that as far as just being able to control the sound that's going out to your recording device, but it's one of these things I like where you can actually yell on and scream and do loud voiceovers without it overpowering, and you don't have to be exactly on the mic all the time. If you move slightly, it compensates for that as well. So if you want to do a big booming, raw, you just get that. It just doesn't overpower it, and that's true. A great device for that. And I've been recording lately over to like a little Tascam handheld recorder, and it's just so good to be able to tailor the sound so you're not overpowering that. You're just sending the right amount to that. They work really well. Yeah.
Well, Mac, that music says we are at the end of our time. We started a little bit late, so we're ending a little bit late, but we really appreciate you coming on. Probably love to have you come on again, and we can share some talks, tips, tricks, and I heard you do a nasty Santa Claus. So Merry Christmas. Yeah. That's
Merry
cool.
Christmas.
We're going to put your information below so people can get a hold of you, and I'll send you a note on something you might like. I think it's called Music Creators, and I can't remember the. He's the British guy, Mike. Oh, what's his name? Mike something or other.
Now you've done that. I've got to show my dog. There's my dog. My dog's there.
His new
just
baby
in the
puppy.
Studio with me.
Are they sleeping together?
To show them in the studio.
Yeah. That's funny. My dog's at home. So anyway, so I'll send you some info, because this would be maybe a good place for you to do tons of advertising work. Because what they do is they provide like 40, 50 voices, and people just say, I want this one, this one, this one, and they do quick clips. And some people are making a lot of money doing that. So I'll send you his info, because I think you'd be perfect for what they do too. It's just kind of a side revenue thing. But
yeah, and I generally do to turn things around overnight, so it's not a problem.
That's cool. Well, Mac, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing some of your life and experience with us and those voices. And we wish you the best of success, and look forward to seeing you again here.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you much.
Thanks very much.
If you're watching the show, please subscribe, give us feedback, and don't forget to get a hold of Mac. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.